Hey guys, welcome to week 3, Live Into of the summer series. This was such a good week. It was probably one of my favorite weeks just because of how practical and how tangible it is. And it's something that honestly we can all truly start living into.
Yes.
And I just loved everything that Sydney had to share. It's so fun because she's somebody who's like discipled me personally, and so to get to learn from her and then get to share that with like everybody in the Delight community that I know and love, it was really cool.
Yeah, you're so right. There's going to be so many ways that everybody can live into, and we are going to reach so many women through
really
this
cool.
one. So I'm really excited about it. Okay, so what was your favorite part? What was your biggest takeaway?
I think my biggest takeaway was really like that false narrative that you have to be super spiritual or theological or go to seminary or be a pastor before you can start discipling people. I think being able to speak the true narrative that from Matthew 28 that we are all called to go and make disciples. And that's gonna look different for everybody, but we all have that mandate on our life. We all have that command on our life to go and make disciples. Yet how many of us are not doing that?
Just don't. Yeah.
How many of us have skipped that just because of fear of not being good enough, or fear of saying the wrong thing, or fear of being rejected? And so I think just rewriting that false narrative and saying that you're called to go make disciples, I'm called to go make disciples, and let's go and do that. That really pumped me up, I think.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think so often discipling or other people mentoring can seem so intimidating.
Yeah.
And I love what Sydney had to say when she was the person that you're potentially discipling doesn't even have to know you're discipling them.
Yeah.
It's just all it is speaking life over people and being intentional about that.
Yeah.
It's being present, it's showing up,
Yeah.
it's going out of your way and hanging out with them on a regular basis, pouring life over them. It doesn't have to be those Bible study once a week where you get together and
Go through a book.
pour scripture over them. Go through a book.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be any of that.
No.
And I loved how simple she made that.
Yeah, and I love that it's so cool that discipleship is perfectly laid out for us in Scripture. Jesus' life is literally our manual for discipleship. All he did, he came here to bring heaven to earth, and he did that by discipling these people that were around him. He just did life with them. He had them watch him. He had them participate in his miracles. He just invited them in, and he started infusing his spirit and his love and his purpose into them, so that when he left, they continued it on. And honestly, I think about that we are kind of we're in the discipleship family, because our faith is only here because of discipleship, because Jesus discipled the disciples who've been discipled, and that just continued on and on.
True,
And so I just wonder how are we gonna be a part of that discipleship story?
Yeah. And an easy takeaway for this week is go disciple. Go do it. If every one of us invested in one or maybe even two, maybe even 3 people, it's not that hard now that we know from Sydney, how many more women will we be bringing closer to Jesus? That just makes me so stoked. So I want to encourage everybody a part of the summer series in the Delight community right now to find one person, get alone with God, have them put 1 or 2 names on your heart, and reach out and be bold. It takes a step of boldness for sure.
Boldness and intentionality.
Yes, and being intentional. But that's I think the number 1 takeaway for this week.
I think so too. Go and make disciples. It's not that scary, because literally the Lord is leading you in that, and you are just kind of the conduit of being the one who's going and offering them the love of Christ and kind of showing them that. So I think that's super huge. And then one more thing I think that we could all do this week to live into this is to look back on our life and notice the people that discipled us, and just to express our gratitude. Just to like call them up on the phone, to send them a text, to write them a letter and say thank you so much for pouring into my life. And then noticing the things that they did for you and how you want to take those things and infuse them into how you're going to disciple other people. So go and make disciples, and then thank the people that have discipled you.
Yes. Guys, go do it. It's the number one thing that the Lord calls us to. Aside from everything else, love people, be kind, be patient, all those things. But like, make disciples at the end of the day. So you can't miss that. Go do it. Bring people closer to Jesus. Number one priority. It's going to be good.
It's going to be good. All right, we will see you next week for week 4.